If elected, this next candidate would be my representative. I'm in the district. Muad, crazy first-generation American, one of 6 children, was born to Libyan parents who came to America as asylum seekers and settled in my home state of Connecticut. Welcome to the program. Thanks for being here tonight.
Thank you for having me. I'm thrilled to be joining these awesome cast of hosts. So, yeah, thank you.
As I was getting to know you by doing my research, I'm like, I got to sign up to help the campaign. I'm just down the road, so you'll be seeing more of this face when I get home. Awesome. Many questions for you. First, can you talk about, you have so many different experiences that you're bringing to this race. You are a Muslim American. You are a descendant of Libyan parents, first generation in the country. And you also had a health scare at age 17 where you almost died because the hospital would not treat your emergency once they saw that your family had some medical debt. In fact, you were like dropping dead in the hospital, and they said, can you pay 20 grand? And you're like, I'm dying, Can you talk about how that experience, and I don't mean to make light of it because it's horrendous, and I know our viewers have gone through those things themselves, but can you talk about how that polarized you and what you intend to do so that that doesn't happen to other people, both in your district and across our country?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. And I always say that I've experienced both some of the beauty of our country and kind of the nightmare of our country as well. So my parents came here fleeing persecution and were able to seek asylum and have liberties that we all experience that I think many take for granted, but that I've always understood to be kind of not rights, but things we fought for. But also I've seen the downside of our country, which is medical debt, foreclosure, and just at 17, being denied and delayed healthcare while I was literally convulsing and nearly being killed by our healthcare system because I was too poor to afford it. And so I kind of bring this culmination of experiences to the campaign and to the constituents I speak with. And I think that it provides it encapsulates a lot of the challenges that America faces. So it's been really incredible to kind of share the story and see how people respond.
Talk about what's happening in our country right now in terms of asylum seekers and their plight.
Yeah, so I actually worked in Congress. I worked for Senator Chris Murphy, and one of the issue areas I handled was immigration. So got to see our asylum and immigration process up close and up front. And it is one of the darkest areas that is often misunderstood or just not even covered. Seeing how people are ripped away from their family members, seeing how people who are literally running for their lives, fleeing usually from south of the border, and coming here and then being thrown into prison, even when it's internationally recognized right to seek asylum. It's just an abomination of everything that our country has pledged to stand for.
Representative Larson is the person you're seeking to unseat. I mean, has anyone at this table, do they know anything that he's done? Has he done anything useful? I mean, he has kind of name recognition because he's just been there under the D for all this time, but he has done very little as far as I can see, and yet he gets a lot of corporate money coming in from not just the state of Connecticut, but all throughout the country. Talk a little bit about the difference that you would bring to that seat.
Yeah. And just to set the context, so Connecticut is nicknamed the land of steady habits. I recently discovered that this would be the first successful primary challenge in our state's history. And kind of Representative Larson is emblematic of that steadiness. So he's been in office for 23 years since 1999, 4 years after I was born. And like you said, most people don't know what he's done. He has continued to call himself the champion of Social Security. But he's the first one who'll tell you that Social Security hasn't changed in 4 decades. And so I think a lot of people are just ready to inject new blood into Congress and remove this corporate stranglehold that has been kind of cast on our government. And so some of the things that we want to talk about is Medicare for all. And we're doing it in the insurance capital of the world, Hartford, Connecticut. And we're still winning voters because they understand that it is a disgrace when people are dying in our country, the world's wealthiest country, because they can't afford insulin. We're talking about things like signing on to the Green New Deal is good, but we need to actually talk about a plan of how do we accomplish curtailing and combating the climate crisis. So we have a real, in my opinion, people-powered agenda. and it's not just shallow and kind of talking points. We talk about how we plan on achieving a bold and systemic change.
Talk a little bit about how you feel about the Democratic Party right now, running as, I guess, what's the word, uber progressive, and they're not as welcoming as we would like them to be. Talk about that.
Yeah, well, I find that there's two different levels. There's the party in the sense of the establishment and the leaders, and there's the constituents that I speak with on doors. The party might not be very welcoming, but the people are just incredibly receptive. I don't want to, give you too much or leak some of the results we're seeing, but it is overwhelming support from constituents on doors. They are just ready for new change. They're ready for a people-powered agenda. It makes a lot of sense. They understand that if there's no corporate money in our government, that we'd be able to get things done. And so while the party, can kind of antagonize anyone who challenges them, we've had every single member of our delegation come out and endorse the 23-year incumbent against a 27-year-old. So we know that they're not going to be, very welcoming of this idea. And like I said, there's never been a successful primary. So we're sending a message, which is not only to people in our district, it's to the entire state. Enough is enough, and we believe that representation should matter. It shouldn't just be a re-election every 2 or 6 years, and nothing gets done.
Do your door knockers go above to the north of Farmington Avenue? I mean, it's Farmington Avenue, right in the middle.
Yeah.
That kind of cuts the rich from the others, right in the heart of, it's very stark, right in the heart of this city. How has your reception been north of the wall?
Yeah, we've not really even delved into the area north of the wall, but I used to actually live right off of Farmington Ave. So I would kind of traverse that divide. And for folks who've never been there, it's literally you go from an area of one of the poorest kind of neighborhoods in Connecticut, and then you walk probably 5 minutes away and you're in multi-million-dollar houses, executives of insurance companies and defense contractors. So it's extremely stark, and it's not, the problem isn't that people shouldn't live side by side, rich and poor. The problem is that the rich have their enclaves and neglect the needs of the people who live just a couple blocks away. But we know who our base of support is. There might be some folks north of Farmington Ave, but we are going to start off with the people who are probably closest to the pain and are most deeply desiring change.
You're in my final question. Anything you would like people who are just new to Muad Hreze, what would you like them to know? What are you standing for?
Yeah, I believe in a politics of possibilities. I believe in a government by and for the people, and I believe in the power of the people. And so this campaign is about providing a vision. It's just not only about calling out the weaknesses of the incumbent. We want to say that we deserve a government that is fighting for our values and reflecting our interests. And as somebody who's come from a country where we've seen the transition and the backsliding of democracy to authoritarianism, what I fear most is that the entire reason my parents came to this country will become moot if we continue to have a government that is not responding to the people's needs. And that is, I think we might eventually lose our democracy and just become an oligarchy that is dominated by the ultra wealthy. And so I'm running for the very reason my parents came to this country, which is for our democracy, for our liberties, and to be able to prosper and have a better life.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for that. I think everyone at this table shares those same concerns, and that is why we put this together tonight. Thank you, and I look forward to meeting you in person in the nutmeg state of never changing values, or whatever you call it.
never changing
habits. That's Muad Hreze from Connecticut's First. I encourage everyone to go check more of him out. I mean,
He's
what's
fantastic.
there to say?
They're all fantastic. And Muad said that he believes in a politics of possibility.